him and Sasha may have some thoughts on this as well. He's the Treasury Secretary and all along those lines, but he's dismissing the cost of tariffs. But he says the U.S. would have to give huge refunds because it is going to the Supreme Court, as you have pointed out, if they're overturned. So does this mean that we're all going to get a tariff refund check and everything like that? Because that's what it seems like he's implying. Because they said if they're overturned, they'd have to give huge refunds.
Well, that's his opinion. Not true, though, because the thing is they can make the rules prospective and not retroactive. So there doesn't necessarily have to be a refund. So they could make a determination that the tariffs should be determined by the states or whatever, and we're going to do it on a prospective basis. They actually did that in a couple of cases that we followed in the pension area. They said it'd be too draconian to go backwards, so they actually said we're going to go forwards and not make it retroactive, but make it prospective. But it's a case that we're actually following. It's DeVos, versus Trump, and the real question is whether or not he has the authority as a executive branch member to impose tariffs unilaterally without the approval of Congress under the International Emergency Economics Act. And the thing is, there's nothing that says there's an emergency, and this is the problem with the tariffs, and hence it's really up to Congress to do this, because Congress, remember, is the legislative branch. They're to create the laws, and the Trump is the executive branch. He's to enforce the laws, so he's not to create and enforce the laws, which is what's going on right now. So this is the reason we picked it up. It was shown on Lawyers Den on this network. Lead counsel Jeffrey Schwab made appearance on the Pod TV network to explain his position. Supreme Court is yet to rule on it, but once it does, it will be a landmark case. I give it about 60-40 in favor of being actually in Trump losing it. In other words, because there's no basis really for him to do what he's doing. It's kind of interesting that he's doing what he's doing, but there's no legal basis. So I think that it's going to be a close call, probably a 5-4 decision by the Supreme Court. But once they returned, then his big fun game just went away, and I don't know what's he going to do for entertainment anymore. I guess.
Speaking of close calls and all along those lines, I know that Rick has brought up a couple of times that she has come off in some cases as moderate, and apparently she was interviewed by CBS, that being Amy Coney Barrett and everything like that, and she was largely silent on her views on Trump in her new memoir and everything like that. But she did say that she defended the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe, and that's the Dobbs decision. So she says it seems like she's back in her idea to not have Roe versus Wade and everything like that. So what's your thoughts on Amy Coney Barrett, and have you read the memoir yet, Rick?
No, but I think she's a thoughtful jurist. She has the issue that she was brought on to the Supreme Court to take care of, which is Trump appointed her to be part of to help get rid of Roe versus Wade.
Right.
And she's very religious, and her thinking is going to be solidly anti-abortion. But on everything else, she's a thoughtful jurist. I mean, I don't know, maybe she has some other places where she's just going to, but often she will surprise liberals who think she'd be like conservative across. No, she seems like she takes the job seriously and, tries to rule, to be an actual judge and do her job. So
be judicious and everything. I know another issue, because you kind of brought it up earlier, Rick, is this whole notion of the pandemic and COVID and what's going on with all along those lines. There've been a lot of major events. I was watching football and saw a lot of people in the stadium, including doing a rain delay of one of the football games last week and everything, and even the team that collapsed, that being the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills, which I know that up in heaven, our former host, Mr. Tresvant, must be happy, because I remember he was a Buffalo Bills fan and all along those lines and everything like that. But I was just wondering your take, because as I was watching two things yesterday, they both had very big crowds. That was the more than two. The football games, but I also watched the VMAs, and the VMAs had a very big crowd. I believe that was in New York City and everything like that. And a lot of people wearing expensive stuff.
So
like
we're in year 6 of COVID, and every year at this time, COVID levels start shooting up because people in the summer, people are outside. It's harder to spread it outside. The wind takes it away. But when people are together in big groups, like you said, football games or other events, or in classrooms, if you watch the curve, every year there are 2 bumps. There's the back to school bump, late summer, early fall, football game bump. Then it levels off and drops a little bit, and then there's the Christmas bump. And right now we're in the football bump.
We're definitely in the football bump.
I want to go back to tariffs for a second.
Uh-huh.
If some court rules that people do get refunds, it's a mess, because the U.S. has taken in so far this year $170 billion in tariffs. And how do you figure out? I mean, remember the last time Trump was president, he couldn't even figure out how to return babies that immigration had taken away from their parents, and hundreds of babies. So good luck, the administration, trying to figure out how to return nearly $200 billion.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be retroactive. I think it's going to be prospective on a going forward basis. On another light note in sports, you may have seen it's on the internet all the time, a baseball that got hit in the stands. I don't know if you saw this, Mark. And this lady went over there and got it from this other guy, but they don't, and they call her Karen Ball Snatcher, because she took the baseball out of, and he gave it to his kid, and then he got it back. But if you look at the full tape, this guy actually ran through 12 chairs to go grab the ball out from her area where she was sitting.
Yeah, but if the ball is on the ground, like she didn't catch it cleanly, she dropped it or whatever, and so now the ball is one step down from her on the ground. The guy scrambles through the crowd, grabs the ball for his kid, and this lady insisted that since she had touched it or some crap, that she runs right over to him and just berates him.
Well, if you look at it from another way, if I'm sitting in a chair and the ball comes in my area, this is where I'm sitting, the ball should be for me, not for some clown.
No. If the ball's on the ground, there's a scramble.
He ran through, I counted them, at least 12 chairs.
Yeah, so he was good at moving. He was.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. If I'm sitting here eating dinner, you don't come running 12 chairs and grab my bloody dessert.
Hold on, just
the real problem that you're having
was the last time
is
went to a baseball
the
game?
sexist nature of the internet.
No,
they're calling her Miss Sharon, and they're not calling him Mr.
Let's talk to the
I respectfully disagree. All the men think that what she did was wrong. All the men think that, but that's not true.
Incorrect.
It's what he did was wrong.
Incorrect.
He ran through 12 chairs, 12 of them.
It doesn't matter.
To get to her area where she was sitting to grab the ball. I'm sorry. You men should be ashamed of yourselves.
Let me show you how.
So Toby, defend this male chauvinistic pig, otherwise known as Mr. Dick.
Because as sarcastic as you are being in your comment and in your actual argument, which is very obviously sarcastic.
I'm watching it right now. He's not running.
She was within her right.
Hold on.
Wait. I just watched the tape. It's playing.
Let me point out.
He didn't run. He walked over.
How many chairs did he walk through to get to her chair?
Can I point out something? Hello.
Wait. Let Rick answer this question. How many chairs?
It doesn't matter. That is not.
Was it next door? Was it in his area?
As a
person
who goes to sporting events regularly,
it wasn't. It doesn't.
You two are arguing nothing. You two
are arguing. Hold on a second. Toby's right. He goes to sporting events regularly.
Male chauvinist pig, and all the male chauvinist pig should defend him. Wait, Toby. Since you're a male chauvinist pig, come with
everything like that.
Can I answer?
Please.
So, just to point out, when a ball goes into the stands or out of the stadium, there is no zone that is regulated to an individual person. That doesn't mean anything. You're just making that up because you want to create some bogus argument just to argue. There isn't anything there. So when a ball goes into the stands, what ends up happening is anybody can go for that ball. It's a free ball. It's in the stands. It has nobody's name on it. It has nobody's zone on it. It doesn't matter if somebody climbs 12 chairs, 30 chairs, 50 chairs, comes across the stadium from where they're not even sitting. It doesn't matter. What it is the ball is in the stands. The people go for the ball. Whoever comes out with the ball, it's their ball.
That's
it
right.
doesn't matter, male, woman, whatever. It doesn't matter if transgender. What it doesn't matter.
You're legally and ethically wrong, Jacoby.
No, it's not.
You're legally and
Let me
ethically
finish the
wrong.
point.
I'll
Let
explain
me
afterwards
finish my
why
point.
your
Let me finish
legal
my
argument
point.
fails.
Hold on. Here's the comment.
Can I even finish my point?
Go ahead.
So again, when the ball goes in the stands, it's anybody's ball. What ended up happening there is, as you saw, just like in any baseball stadium, the ball went in the stands. Multiple people went for the ball. The lady did, the guy did. There were other individuals that were there that were going for the ball. The gentleman came out with the ball. Once that happens, it's dead. It's over. The guy went and handed it to his child. The mistake that she made is that she got upset. She went over and started berating the individual, took the ball from him and his child. That was where the mistake happened. Then the mistake in actual Facebook and all the social medias, yes, it became a joke. Yes, that's fine. She should not have lost her job. She should not have all this other.
I don't think she did. Did she? I don't think she's even.
Evidently, the rumor is she's lost her job over this whole situation.
No, she was misidentified for a while as somebody else. And then
all that stuff should not have happened. What should have happened?
No, you're legally
Let me read a comment. Let me read a comment.
I would expect to win the case.
Let me read a comment off of Twitter. The ball was never in that crazy lady's hand. The dad fully secured the ball. And you know why that bee couldn't grab the ball? Because she had her effing cell phone in her other hand, and they run it in slow motion. If the ball's on the ground, it's anybody's.
Doesn't matter.
If you catch it in your hand, what people get pissed is if somebody has it in their hand and somebody grabs it out of your hand, that's bullshit. But she never had it in her hand.
That doesn't matter.
Yes,
that doesn't matter. You guys don't understand the law. The law on that, once she has an implied right,
there is no unwritten rule. There is no law.
To
the
her
law of
seat
the law of the land as a person who is there
so
on a regular basis.
If she puts her purse down, Jacoby,
no,
if she puts her purse down, and this guy comes 12 chairs over and grabs her purse and said, "Well, I grabbed your purse because you put it down." Guess what? That's stealing, Jacoby. That's stealing. I would expect
kind of argument.
I would expect if she were to take this to court, she would win it because of her implied legal rights to her chair and the surrounding area. And you male chauvinist pigs are going to go down.
You know what?
By the way, we wouldn't even make it to trial. We wouldn't even make it to trial. It would be summary judgment. You guys would lose.
It is over because and we're making up arguments just to argue. This is just dumb.
No, it's not arguing. This is really good stuff.
The lady went over.
It's on the internet and shows how bad the internet is.
The lady went over.
This is bullshit. He's sitting here saying we should be discussing bigger stuff. But
the lady went over, berated the father, got the ball.
This is great stuff.
Dumb.
But wait. You know who knows baseball? Professional baseball
has nothing to do with baseball.
And they saw what happened. Also, the sportscaster.
There was no right.
The sportscaster saw the baseball team thought, and they
if I bought a ticket, I have implied legal rights to my seat.
Nick, you're just arguing just to argue. The lady got the ball.
Doesn't matter.
The lady got. You're arguing for her to get the ball. We tell you she got the ball. Now you want to argue saying it doesn't matter.
No, I'm arguing. I'm arguing that guys like you got it wrong. I mean, the thing is, the internet got it wrong, and it's based on male.
Chauvinist.
I'm going. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go on mute until we actually talk about something.
Get a group of women here. Wait, we got 6 guys. Where are the women?
All right,
Get a group of women here and see if they agree with
They
it. I doubt it.
choose not to hear our yelling.
Okay, so but the deal is the sportscasters, they zoomed in on that. They said that's bad behavior from the woman. The baseball teams themselves.
Was that a male baseball announcer or female counselor?
It doesn't.
It does matter.
That's
It does
immaterial.
matter. There's big gender bias in what you just witnessed.
All right, let's move on to some other.
Yeah, let's move on,
You're just going to
please.
keep
Yeah.
bullshitting us for the sake of controversy. All right, what else? We got Tom.
What's the guy
Let's talk about
destroying?
Tom. All right, let's talk
Do you have
about
anything from Canada or Asia, Mark?
Huh?
Anything going on in Canada, Asia? Maybe we should ask the people in Canada and Asia. We'll start with the Asian.
what's happening.
Anything going on in Bangladesh and Asia? Or are you guys all quiet?
Right now, after this relationship in between Asian market, even though with this China and India relationship, lot of good things happening. Beside that, we are observing with India, Donald Trump also making good relationship. So it may give some positive momentum in between global North and global South relationship. Beside that, I just want to share a good news that what we are doing, my World Talent Economic Forum with IIT, India Institute of Technologies. This month, we are launching our program, what we call CEO Development Program. So definitely, Rick Rosner, Nick Palveda, we bring you in our team, and we will develop 500 startup. And in this program, basically, 30 million people will join in this religious fest. It's called Kormo Yud. It's a more spiritual activities and startup development program. And 3,000 corporations from around the world, they are joining, and World Talent Economic Forum also collaborating with these things. And hopefully through this process, we can develop a great startup ecosystem, and economically it will be very great opportunities for around the world. So those who want to improve economic situations, want to contribute new economy, engage with new startup, new idea, definitely you know that South Asia has billions of people, and it's a very good place for investment. You can join in our ecosystem. We call it Startup Championship. All of the big company like Tata, like Reliance, like many large company from around the world, they are also joining to supporting this startup ecosystem. Definitely Pot TV, I already mentioned, will be partner for our ecosystem. So what you are trying to develop, the great audience, like the great speakers and all of the things you will get through our program. So I always focus on good idea. I always focus on good solutions. And I always welcome my friends to involve with productive activities. So hopefully that will be a good solution for global peace and global economic solutions. Thank you.
Appreciate it. What's going on in Canada, Sasha? Anything major in the Canadian news? I know that we've got a drone attacks left and right from both sides in Ukraine and Russia. And of course, you talk about that regularly on Tuesdays and everything. But what's shaking in Canada, as Nick just asked you?
Well, Canada is involved in all those tariffs negotiations, and there are several different issues. It's very difficult to describe it within 5-10 minutes. But the process is going on. And Nick, I wanted to ask you if there was already a ruling of the court in US that all these tariffs are illegal. Okay, we are waiting for Supreme Court decision, but let's put it aside. The ruling that they are illegal, then, and let's see, just for the sake of argument, that Supreme Court will keep the same ruling that yes, the tariffs are illegal. So then that makes the collection of illegal tariffs make all this activity illegal, and therefore they have to be returned to the sources where they were collected, or there has to be a special ruling, not only that they're illegal, that they also must be returned How does it work, in your opinion?
Right.
Yeah, but who knows what they're going to do? But my thinking is that they're going to rule them illegal going forward on a prospective basis, but not retroactive. You know, if they did retroactive, that's going to cost the U.S. government a lot of money. In other words,
But the ruling of the court that we already have, we can speculate about Supreme Court ruling. It will happen soon anyway. But the existing ruling is that they are illegal, full stop, period. Illegal gains is a punishable offense. So if you've collected some money illegally, not only that you'll be punished for that, but you also have to, of course, return all the illegal gains. Doesn't it come to your mind automatically?
well, it all remains to be seen. I mean, this will be up to the Supreme Court. Like I said, we caught it. Like when we scour all the Supreme Court cases and appellate court cases, or a lot of them. And that one, when I looked at it, seemed to have the most merit of all the stuff I saw. That's the other reason I invited Jeffrey Schwab onto the network, because that one looked like to be the one that was most problematic. And it has appeared to be what I thought, most problematic for Donald Trump, as they lost in the trial court, lost in the appellate court. Now will be going in front of the Supreme Court. Now realize, because it's political in nature, you know, the Supreme Court could rule in favor of Trump. There's a 40% chance they would say, well, it's because Congress was dormant and didn't say anything, that they're going to allow this to stand. Seriously, you know, the dormant commerce clause. Okay, there's a 40% chance they jump to that argument. Or they could say it is illegal. There was no emergency, and hence, you know, on a now how you can do it on a going backwards basis, I don't know. On a going forward basis, I don't know.
We've been
We'll see.
serious for 5 minutes. Now let's get back to the stupid bullshit. So Trump went to the U.S. Open yesterday, and he instructed the TV networks to not show him being booed. The U.S. Open's in New York, and New Yorkers don't particularly like Trump. So they weren't allowed to show the booing. When the booing started, Trump does a thing. He claps for himself, and he says, "Thank you." And that way, if Fox wants to drop in the few people that are cheering, Trump acts like he's being cheered when he's so. Okay, so that's just stupid Trump bullshit. More stupid Trump bullshit is every year, West Point gives an award to a civilian who has supported the troops and veterans. And this year it was supposed to be Tom Hanks, who's supported the veterans, who's portrayed, you know, Band of Brothers, Masters of the Air, Forrest Gump, Saving Private Ryan. He's supported veterans for decades, and for his work on behalf of veterans. He was supposed, anyway, because he's a Democrat, Trump shut that down. They're not going to give the award this year.
So Trump shut that particular one down and everything?
Yeah, Trump. Well, we know why there's not a memo, but we know that somebody from the White House made a phone call. It's
yes, Trump shut down the Tom Hanks Award, but it wasn't Trump that actually said for the U.S. Open not to cover it. It was the U.S. Open because they didn't want him there. One, they didn't really want him there because then it becomes political. But then they didn't
not
want
only political, but having the president there meant that they had long lines where everybody got wanded. You know, so
it caused a delay. It caused a delay in the games and everything like that.
Yeah, but they also told they didn't want any coverage shown of him. So it wasn't Trump that said don't show him. It was actually the U.S. Open that said.
Well, that makes sense, because if they did show it, then the White House could go after that network. You know, because has a record so far this presidency of going after the TV networks that he doesn't like.
Yep, he's authoritarian and a propagandist.
Well, speaking of propaganda and all along those lines, and this is one of them lighthearted moments again. Well, not overly serious, but it is somewhat serious. Don't people watch the news or watch commercials? Because there's a commercial that's out there that's the guy, I think it's an insurance company, but he's basically wreaking havoc. So he's basically talking about mayhem, right? And one of the mayhem commercials is a kiss cam and everything that causes mayhem. and now we've got an astronomer and a definitely an astronomer and a person that was working with him that is now filing for divorce because they got caught on a kiss cam. Don't folks know that those kiss cams are out there, and don't they follow the commercials and everything? Because that's the whole nature of the Mayhem commercial. But apparently, Kristen Abbott.
But let's talk about the Mayhem guy, because he's very slightly controversial right now. Because Spike Lee has a new movie out, Highest to Lowest, starring Denzel Washington, and it involves, police eventually show up in the movie, and one of the cops is Mayhem, is the guy who plays Mayhem in the commercial. And somebody on Twitter is saying, not gonna lie, I find the Allstate Mayhem guy being in Highest to Lowest distracting, and which is BS. This guy has been in a lot of, he's a great actor, but he's part of a minor controversy right now.
Oh, speaking of minor controversy right now, the LBGT community stuck themselves in the foot with the movie Lightyear by Pixar, because they had an LBD2QIAXYZ girls kissing each other in the movies. Well,
No, they didn't.
guess what?
You haven't seen the movie. You don't even understand the controversy.
14 countries banned that movie. They asked them, could you please remove it because it has no socially redeeming value whatsoever, which I agree, it has none. And so what happens is they said, no, we're not. We're going to stick our LGBTQIA up your rear. And the country said, no problem. We will not allow your movie Lightyear to be shown in our country. 14 banned it. And I bet it's a lot of Muslim countries also that banned it, and rightfully so.
You know what's interesting?
This is just another way that they're sticking it up everybody's rear. It's disgusting.
No,
it's a woke agenda.
You don't
and
understand.
frankly, I'm tired of listening to it. I won't take my kids there. Neither would Spike Lee. Neither would Snoop Dogg.
Nick,
no one would go to that stupid
hello,
movie.
Nick.
Don't
Nick,
go.
do you understand that movies get banned? Do you understand that video games get banned in other countries? Do you understand that, for example, Call of Duty, one of the #1 video games out there, got banned in particular countries for particular reasons? It was covering different parts of the society that they didn't want covered. Do you understand how that works?
Yeah,
but I guess not, because you were arguing. You were just now trying to create some controversy.
You're trying to stick your stupid American culture up everybody's rear,
Nick,
and they're not interested in your stupid American culture.
Nick, when did Lightyear come out?
2022, 3 years ago.
Don't know.
3 years ago. Okay.
I don't know why we're talking about it.
I mean, it's because Nick is trying to make some controversy out of something.
It's not controversial. They just ban it. It's real simple. Just don't watch the
Hold on.
And it just shows again this woke agenda. It's U.S. garbage trying to be exported on ways.
Nick, I have the box office numbers. Lightyear in 2022 made 118 million in the U.S. and 108 million across the rest of the world for $226 million gross. And according to Wikipedia, it actually lost money because it cost so much to.
It was Pixar's movie. It was actually the explanation of why Buzz Lightyear was Buzz Lightyear. That is what the movie is about.
Okay. Let's say if that's the movie. Why are we going to have two lesbian couples jump into the movie?
You're not even listening, are you? You're not listening. You know,
if it's supposed to be for kids,
2 years and one
what are you doing sticking a bunch of lesbians on
the movie? Wanting to create some controversy.
Come on,
I would like to explain again. What Rick said is very true. We're talking about a controversy from 3 years ago that got re-upped because people are trying to distract from anything they can from the Epstein list, which is
this is as bad as Epstein, isn't it?
So hold on, Nick. Let me finish, Nick. Let me finish. Yeah. You don't know about the movie, yet you're crying about the movie. You've never seen the movie, yet you're crying about the movie. You didn't even know the controversy about the movie, yet you're crying about the movie. You didn't know why it got banned from these other countries, yet you're crying about these bans. The problem with your whole argument is you're uneducated on this argument. So you're sitting here ignorantly yelling about this movie. And then on top of that, you keep yelling out, oh, it's two girls. No, it wasn't two girls kissing in the movie. Again, you're ignorant on this movie. You don't even know what it's about. So why are we even talking about it?
Yeah.
Did they kiss? Did they kiss? Like I think they shared an apartment. Like I'm not. I don't know that they made out. No, they're
No,
not.
they
not-
did not make out. There was no making out in the movie. What ended up happening is there's a mom and another mom that are the captain who looked up to Buzz Lightyear when Buzz Lightyear first traveled outside of space, and then due to time dilation, that was the explanation that they were trying to explain to the kids of how space travel works. So due to time dilation, when Buzz Lightyear came back, the little kid that looked up to him was actually older now.
And it was like a senior executive in
Yes,
the
and was
space
running
force.
the actual company, had a daughter who actually had a wife as well. That's all it pointed out, is that, hey, look,
Nobody was making out, but,
So,
but and
again,
here's,
what
here's
Nick is
the
No,
point.
it's just a woke agenda promotion.
no,
That's all.
what it is,
No, well,
Nick
Yeah.
is trying
And,
Hey,
and
speaking
so
of
the thing
that, hold on a
is,
second.
it's been banned in many countries.
Nick,
and
hold on,
everything.
Nick.
You know, it had no business
Hey,
being in a
hold on a second.
child's movie.
Nick, speaking of woke,
You know,
we
it's
almost
just
had a
it's
chance to
just
get a
like
major
the
star.
same
Hold on.
Why do we have stars
Mark,
pride flags
I had
on
another
Mark,
story.
can I point this out? Can I point this out real quick?
the DeSantis got
Can I
rid of
point this out real quick? Now,
Yeah.
Nick is up here trying to pull something up from 3 years ago to try and
Well,
create
I'll talk
some
about something
controversy.
now.
Nick, let me finish. Let me get to my point, please. So Nick is trying to come up with some point to distract from everything going on because, one, Trump's numbers are falling, but also we just had RFK last week have one of the worst hearings on actual on the Senate floor. Then Nick just wants to hold up his Miami cup, but hasn't even talked about how the doggone Surgeon General of Florida went out sounding like a pure idiot, the idiot that he is, when he talked about, well, we need to go ahead and pull all these vaccines. Why? Because we don't have any, we don't want to use data to prove that we need to pull all these vaccines. We just want to pull it because, hey, we want to give parental rights and it's the right thing to do. That is one of the dumbest arguments you can have, talking about Florida, where Miami is. But Nick, you don't want to talk about that. You want to talk about a movie from 3 years ago and not something that just happened a week ago.
We can talk about what happened a week ago too.
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Miami
Hey,
Before we move
Nick.
on, I want to mention why did Lightyear underperform according to Deadline Hollywood and Variety? It's because it premiered against Jurassic World Dominion and Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, it was going against two major movies and everything
On
like
top
that.
of that, animated movies don't do all
It
that.
would have been destroyed anyway. You know, I mean, the thing is,
It roast almost a quarter.
it would be snow woke all over again. I mean, the thing is,
I
most
don't
of
even
the
know what Snow Woke
Americans
was about and
and
everything.
most of the rest of the world is
Hey,
not
Nick,
agenda
You want to
Nick, I
say
got a
driven.
Snow
question.
Woke? The funny thing is, Snow
You
White
know,
came
they're not
actually
interested in
after
your woke
Lightyear.
agenda.
But
And if you want to talk
Nick,
about
you're not even
something
listening.
today,
You're just making
you
stuff
can
up,
talk
trying to
about
create
all the
controversy.
pride flags
Again,
that are being erased.
Let's
There
talk
are
about.
roads in Florida.
I would
By the way,
would
in
much rather have.
Florida,
You know, I would much rather
you
have pride
baby.
flags and
you
vaccines
can have you
than
flags.
than a dude just holding up a cup supporting an area that keeps pulling vaccines for kids.
It's the you baby, But see,
Well,
that's
I hear you talking about the
different shit.
Hey,
You
Nick, just
decided
really
to get rid
quickly.
of the
Hold
pride
on.
flags that are
Hold on a second.
trashing the Florida
Hey,
road.
I got a question
Goodbye.
for you and everything, because there was a group of folks that are not quite MAGA, but they used to be like MAGA, but apparently it's the latest group, and apparently he's talking to them right now that Trump is going after. So I just wanted your thoughts, since you are definitely a supporter of rights and all along those lines. But apparently right now President Trump is delivering remarks about religious liberty while he's also doing things with the folks that are immigrants and everything. So I was just wondering your thoughts on his appeal to the moral majority, because that's what I think he's trying to do, is go after the moral majority crowd and everything like that, which is similar to MAGA, but it's not quite MAGA. So he's making remarks about religious liberty as he's sitting in D.C. So anybody got any thoughts about him trying to appeal to religious folks, even though I think he held the Bible upside down when one campaign had been.
Yeah. Also, he talked about 2 Corinthians, right? He doesn't, which it's 2 Corinthians. He doesn't even he claims to be religious and love the
He's not.
Bible. He's never read the Bible, and he makes dumb mistakes in his.
They don't have the Bible on Epstein Island.
Oh, they had a Bible on Epstein Island.
They don't
Oh,
have
yeah,
that
they're
on
probably all
Epstein
reading
Island.
it.
Again.
But
You know,
realize the arguments were, years ago, and you got to go back decades ago, but not that
Well,
far
hold on,
ago.
we have Steve here.
We'll have Steve, and then I'll tell you what happened. Yeah, Steve, what's going on in the Tower of Power in the D.C. area?
Well, I'm supposed to go there next week. I guess the main thing is that it's just everyone's looking at just midterm elections coming up, and I guess the big issue is the vaccines, and I think that's kind of the big fight around the Senate, and I think that we knew this was coming. It shouldn't be a surprise. We knew RFK was always against vaccines, and don't really quite understand the rationale for it. Although high risk people will be able to get it, but it's definitely such a divided country. So I'm looking forward to getting up there. And I had Ro Khanna, United States Congressman. He wasn't able to make it, but he did a virtual event for me, endorsing me for commissioner. And he's been in charge of the Epstein files, very in charge of economic development and technology and innovation, represents Silicon Valley. And so it's been very interesting to see his observations of what the Democrats have to do. And I think it's bringing the country together, getting back on message, working across the aisle to get things done. And that seems to be very difficult. And, that's really all I'm hearing out there right now down here in North Carolina. Cooper looks like he's going to win the primary. The election, at least the nomination. And we'll see where it goes. I don't know if Mark Lee has any additions here.
Just really quickly, how many debates are you averaging? Because I know that we actually had one on Wednesday at Haytide with all of the 3 ward candidates as well as our mayoral candidates. So I just wondering how many debates are you averaging per week and everything? It looks like we're averaging about 3 or 4.
They haven't really started the debates. There's lots of precinct meetings I've been attending. I'm going to a church event today, town hall meeting by Dan Blue, and going to a county commissioner work session. Just getting out there, getting my endorsements lined up, and getting ready for going through that endorsement process. Right now, all focus is on the municipal elections here, even in Morrisville. First time I won't be on the ballot in the city for 14 years, so it's a bit stressful, but also kind of a little bit more relaxing. And I'm looking forward to, projected to win the commissioner's race. But if not, I'm looking for a little bit of a break. I miss my media a lot more than I thought. I don't know. I've been on PTF every now and then. Haven't appeared on PBS in a while. I'm not sure whether they're taking a break just because I'm on the ballot. But I did get published in Fox News, and hoping to get some national press from that. But I'm here, so thank you. Yeah, and there was also some thing going on in France with a no vote of confidence for the prime minister, and just there's a lot going on. And also, the final thing I'll say is just a lot of concern about India. Here, India, U.S., Modi, China, Modi with a picture with the Chinese premier, not good, and Russia. So this could be the 3 new evil powers, not evil powers, but just opponents of the U.S., where there's seems to be more opponents than allies at the moment. And of course, we're continuing to keep our eyes on Ukraine and the Middle East.
Right. So to get back to Trump at this religious thing, he's giving remarks at the Museum of the Bible, and he says, "We are one nation under God, and we always will be." So I looked it up. The words "under God" were added to the Pledge of Allegiance by President Eisenhower in 1954 as part of the Cold War, where the Soviet Union was cracking down on religion because the Soviet communism was atheistic. So it was adding "under God" to our pledge was a Cold War move. And
that's not the only Cold War move. I believe that's also when we added the phrase that is religious on our coins. We didn't add that till much around that same time, and everything.
Yeah, it makes sense. We were fighting the godless communists.
Right. So that's around what time we added it on the coins. Hey, Sasha, just really quickly, because I know we've got the economics coming up in about 5 minutes, but since Steve mentioned some of the things he's been on, I do know that tomorrow you've got a major event as well, because you are always doing a great job here on Pod TV, but you've got another appearance as well. So if you want to share folks here about that appearance that you'll be making, I'm sure folks would be interested about your appearance to talk about the Ukraine war on Mr. Peters.
What can I say? So far, all I know is that I have a link to participate in there. Now, what is going to be, how it's going to play, when is, and remember it's a taping, so when it's going to go live, I don't know. So to tell you the truth, I know about that probably just as much as you, as all of you, not
Gotcha.
much more. Now, about speaking about Ukraine, Russia is testing now how far they can go unpunished by bombardment of Ukrainian cities and killing innocent civilians, children, women, elderly people. But it's even more important for them to kill people, although it is very important for them, mind you, is to destroy buildings in Ukrainian cities, to make these places unlivable, to make a Gaza in Kiev. That's really what they're after. But you see, because of the Gaza situation, you can see Palestinian demonstrations all over the world, and everybody's talking about it. In Ukraine, when the city are being destroyed and people killed, no one gives a damn. No one, no leader, nobody else in the world is mindful about that.
Just to push back on that a little bit, there's a difference between so the people see that a lot of people want to support Ukraine. You have the other country leaders trying to give money to Ukraine, trying to support Ukraine. You have people coming out. They had been protesting. Yes, there were protests even here in North Carolina around what was going on in Ukraine. What's going on now is that people are upset at our leadership for not being as supportive. So with Ukraine, and that's because of Trump and everything that he's doing. Now he's kind of changed, but there is support for Ukraine. With what's going on in Palestine and Gaza, you don't have that same support. You don't have countries giving money or sending money to the people of Palestine. You don't have that. So you have people protesting and trying to fight back against that. So it's two different things. And yes, both people support Ukraine. It's just that you have some people in leadership, like a Trump, who's a puppet, who's been more leaning towards Putin and trying to propagate that. You have some MAGA that have now switched over to supportive of Russia and so on and so forth. But people in the majority in the U.S. support Ukraine. That's not the same for Palestine. So you have people protesting to get the word out about that. And you have people more educated about what's going on in Ukraine than what's going on in Palestine and that war there. Because the main thing that people support in the U.S. is Israel.
Okay, a question to you. Zhitovi, are you aware that just a few hours ago there was a terrorist act in Jerusalem? And
it happened at a bus station, and they're still counting how many people the death toll is rising.
Yes, and Hamas took responsibility for that act.
Yep.
You aware of that?
Yep.
Okay, so then what do you think Israel will do in response?
What they are continuing to do, which the UN has said what they are doing is tantamount to genocide. You have other countries that are saying that they have broken laws to do what they have done and what they continue to do. And this is why you have people standing up and fighting, because what's going on in that situation is a problem and needs to be addressed. And people are trying to equate and demonize the Palestinian people. They're trying to equate them with Hamas, which they are separate. They are separate people. Hamas is not Palestinian, and Palestinian people are not Hamas. We can be educated enough to have that conversation. And we also can be because this is a very sensitive topic. We can also be educated enough to be critical of what Netanyahu is doing, without saying that without saying that because you're critical of Netanyahu, you hate all of Israel. That's not true. People are very supportive of the Israeli people. Hence the reason why even the Israeli people are protesting Netanyahu and what he's doing. So it's a tough discussion.
Yeah, I know that. I would like to tell you that in your logic, Gestapo was not all Germans, and all Germans were not Gestapo. So once you try eliminate fascist regime, you have to go after Gestapo as, but not against all Germans. But you know what? It didn't really work well during Second World War, is it?
Your references to saying that not all Germans were Nazis and not all Nazis were German, blah blah blah.
Send me the economics link. I gotta go. Thank you.
So it's just one of those tough discussions.
I know.
And it's just one that we have to be able to have on that higher level and be able to agree on some base level things. And once we can agree on those base level things, it makes the discussion easier.
Okay, what I will propose for our next debates that the world order set after Second World War, 1945, is completely been destroyed in the last years, specifically by Russia more than anybody else. So therefore, in a new world order, which is either already formed or about to be formed, the only reasoning is a power, is a raw power. So here is a bigger and stronger country fights a smaller and weaker country. The law is on a bigger army, although it doesn't work that way in Ukraine-Russian conflict yet. But supposedly it should work. If it would have been the case, there would be no need to fight anymore, because the bigger and stronger will always defeat the weaker and the smaller country. But look at what happened in Vietnam. Was Vietnam bigger and stronger than US? Probably not. But US couldn't win the war.
Let's continue this later, because I got to run to an 11 o'clock meeting. But I love this concept. We got to talk more.
As well.
Thank you. Bye-bye.